We've all been there. You speak to a customer service agent or a call center representative, and you can tell that they are just reading their script. It doesn't even feel like you're speaking to a person. They are just following their script and they do not deviate from it. I don't know about you, but I hate those kind of conversations. They are so frustrating as a customer to have. So what's happening here? Why do some call center reps stick to their script like that? And if you are a business leader and you want to know, hey, I need some great contact center customer service reps, but I don't want them to sound like that. In this video, we're going to dive into why that sometimes happens and how you can change it up and have a better experience for your customers. So let's dive in. Hi, I'm Valerie Bowden, founder of Cradle. Welcome back to our channel. The inspiration for this video is that recently I was on a call with somebody who was just bad-mouthing contact center representatives. And he was saying they sound horrible, they sound like robots, they never deviate from their script, they don't have any common sense just to have an actual conversation with you. Oh, it made me so frustrated. And so here's what's happening. There are so many businesses who do not give their sales reps or customer service reps the freedom to deviate from their script. We once had a client and he had a script that our reps had to say exactly. And it was so off-putting. I mean, even for me as a native English speaker, when I read that script, there were words that I never use and I would never phrase it like that. But this client made every single representative read it exactly. In fact, a lot of customers and clients that we have, they'll either use AI or have a BDR manager audit sales reps and customer service reps to make sure that they are following that script exactly. And that's why it can be so frustrating for you who has to listen to someone read their lines off. I know personally for me, last week I was trying to cancel a subscription online, couldn't figure out how to do it. I had to call the representative and she just kept reading the same thing over and over. And by the third time, she said, I'm so sorry. I have to ask you this again. Are you sure you want to cancel? By that time, after have already saying, yes, I want to cancel 2 other times, by the third time, I was like, yes, I want to be done. And I never want to use this company again because it is so complicated and irritating to have to finish the subscription. So if you are a business owner, please know that you do not have to do this. Okay. You do not have to have reps that have to stick to a script so much so that they don't sound like humans. So here's the other option. The other option is that you give your team members a loose script and then you train them and you empower them to have actual real conversations. Now, again, I'm not saying you can just let them say anything they want to. Sure, you know that for, let's say, sales in general, there is a certain template and kind of flow you want to go through. And you do want to prepare them with ways to handle objections. And maybe you don't want them sharing your price point over the phone in that first call. I mean, you can put some parameters around it. And you may need to add some language that is scripted for legal reasons. For example, depending on the state that you're calling, if you're recording your calls, they will legally have to say, this call may be recorded for quality assurance. That is a scripted line. So once in a while, your calls may need to have a few very scripted lines as well as the flow. But in general, if you really invest in training your team members to answer questions, to be a real human being, to give them the knowledge that they need, they can have a real conversation and your customers are going to do so much better with that. Now, most businesses, not all, but most businesses are using offshore talent for that tier 1. So the offshore teams that you have, they're probably not answering the most complicated questions anyways. It probably is that my login's not working, I can't find my account number, the order hasn't arrived yet, I need this kind of help. It's all easier things where, again, the script isn't needed and you should just empower and train them to have an actual real conversation. So that is just the takeaway, is that I want people to know that when you have a bad experience with someone over the phone, most likely it is not their fault. They have to follow the script that they are giving or they will lose their job. Or if you have someone who doesn't have all the information that they need, they probably weren't trained right or have a good coach or mentor that they can go to get the correct information. It is sometimes a rep's fault, but the majority of the time, it is so many other factors that lead the customer to having a bad experience. So another way I kind of like to look at this is back when I was in high school and college, I was always a waitress. That was like my go-to job for the first several years of me working. And I know that sometimes you might have, let's say, a bad server. That happens, of course, but sometimes you might have a bad experience and it's not necessarily your server's fault. For example, maybe the manager did not schedule enough servers to show up that day. And so your server is handling double the tables that they should be handling. Or maybe the kitchen staff didn't show up on time, so food is really slow. Or maybe they got unexpectedly busy and the waitress is working her tail off to help as many people as possible, but she still has, again, too many people to handle, and so your service might be a little bit slower. Now, of course, as a customer, you don't like that, but you also have to recognize that sometimes it might not be your server's fault if you have a bad experience. There are so many other factors that lead up to his or her ability to serve you, right? So this same metaphor goes towards call centers. Yes, sometimes it's the representative's fault, but a lot of times it's actually just the business and their strategy. And I think a lot of businesses really don't trust offshore talent. They don't trust them to do a good job, and so they don't really set them up to be successful. However, from what I have seen in my experience, that clients who, one, choose their own team members, two, onboard them properly and treat them like remote team members and treat them like positively, like any other team member in their company, plus give them proper training. The best clients we have are ones that will spend time each day training, answering questions, handling objections, and being there and available for when that person has questions for you. So all this to say, if your customers are calling you because they need help, it means they have already exhausted the options on your website. It means that the AI chat is not helpful enough. So they're not calling you to speak to another robot. They're calling you because they need a real human to answer their questions. So empower your team members to be a real human, have a proper conversation, and be empowered and trained to know how to serve your customers in a way that still meets your guidelines, meets your branding and your quality, but isn't necessarily 100% scripted. And in the end, that is going to really attract more customers to you because that is what we all want. We want to talk to a real human who can help us, and we don't want to talk to a robot who's just reading off lines. So I hope this video helps you. It's a short video today, but the point of it all is train your offshore team members. They will do a great job. Empower them to be successful. If you like this video and you found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, you can leave any questions you have about how to onboard offshore talent in the comments below. Thank you for watching.